have you and I'm hoping that you notice just what big tech, these big corporations, even big media, what they've done to we the people and to the world. I'm going to address a couple different things here, but the principle and the idea that I want to get across to you is that there's been a weaponization of convenience and a weaponization of our lack of principles. And what I mean by convenience is, you and I, we all know that our smartphones, they were actually built to make things easy for us. Basically we have this massive processor in our hands that takes videos. It's basically a massive computer. It takes photos. We can communicate with each other via text message. And that's what it was meant for, right? But then what happened is they weaponized it against us by making us the product by the data that they collect of ours and how they use that data to track us, to watch us, to record us, and then eventually to eliminate us, to eliminate our ability to buy and sell. What do you think those banks are? Bank of America, potentially other banks as well. What they've done is they track you, they track us. So the convenience originally was just like to give us a freaking really cool computer in our hands that we can really do some cool stuff with. But then somebody had some nefarious idea that, hey, we're gonna put in our terms and conditions this other stuff. That's why you just accept it without knowing what you're accepting, without reading it. I'm guilty of it too. Just press agree, I agree, right? I agree to you tracking my butt all over the freaking planet, even to my bathroom. You should think about that when you're on your toilet playing with Facebook. So they weaponize the convenience, but they're also weaponizing right now our lack of principle. And believe me, like, I'm preaching to the choir, I'm preaching to myself right now, right? What Disney just did with Gina, I can't remember her last name right now, but she basically is telling the truth about what happened in history and how the ordinary German was turned into a villain because of their lack of principles that they lived in Germany in that time. It's like the principle in showing what actually happened in history. Now that's wrong, right? It's wrong to say so. It's wrong to have an opinion on that unless you are going with cancel culture, or unless you keep your mouth shut about what you see. And as long as you keep your mouth shut and you abide by their rules, you abide by their principles, you're okay. So how does that play out for you and for me? Well, I know how it played out for me. I went against BLM. I said something against BLM. I said something for what I saw in La Mesa. I was in La Mesa doing the cleanup because I care about East County. I care about Lakeside, Santee. I care about these areas. I work in these areas, try to help to improve these areas by my job. But what was labeled? But what happened, right? You had all the people who were the virtue signalers trying to say that everybody in these areas were a bunch of racists, that these people are part of the Klan and stuff like that. They just take everything completely out of context. It's like, hey, there might have been issues like in the past. There might be some remnants of that here and there in the area, but it's not all like that. No, it's not. But you can't say that, especially me as a black dude, right? And so what happens? I get censored. I get throttled and stuff on Facebook because people who are supposedly my friends turn against me and report me because I'm just basically telling the truth. What happens to this woman? She basically gets fired from Disney, and The Mandalorian is an awesome dang series. But what happened? She spoke up. She said something. And because she said something, well, the big money weaponized itself against her. Big media. That's what Disney really is, a big media company. They own all kinds of stuff. They were buying stuff up a long time ago. So how does this play out? What's the results of this? The result is that if we understand that these weapons are used against us, then we basically have to either form our own weapons or we acknowledge them and get rid of their weapons. We get rid of our smartphones. We get rid of the way for them to track us. We get some dumb phones. Go back to the old school. Like I said, am I willing to do this? I guess we'll find out. Am I willing to get rid of Disney Plus? Am I willing to not go to Disneyland? I don't know. But that's how they weaponize it. They make it so convenient that if you do get rid of this stuff, it's an inconvenience. I mean, I dumped my Disney stock. I don't have Disney stock. So I did that before even all this, because I just feel like something else funky was going on. But it's like, when I see this stuff, when you see this stuff, how do you retaliate? What's your way of saying, I'm not buying what you're selling? And if you're able to do that, you're able to come to those conclusions and able to come to a real way to step out, fight back, and to move against these big powers, then believe me, you've got your power back. You've got your individuality back. Because they're basically the United States represents individuality. And that's what people want. They want the ability to come to a place like the United States and to really form their own life. They want to escape all whatever it is that they might have come from and come here and try to lead their own life. Other places, this is a unique nation in that people that come from absolutely nothing make something of themselves. It's not saying that everything here is perfect, but like this Mark Cuban thing. This freaking jackhole, I mean, I was a Mark Cuban fan. I'm no longer a Mark Cuban fan. I will never, in fact, I don't even get into this freaking guy. But I mean, seriously, and then I see the virtue signalers on social media. We know where we live. Okay? You might know where you live. But the way that history goes is people forget where they live when they're not reminded of it. So the virtue signal, I don't need to be told every time we go watch a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game where we are. Even though this place actually invented these freaking games. Even though this place actually came up with the concepts that allow people who are black, who are minorities, and even who are women to thrive in these arenas. But let's just forget about it because, the national anthem offends me. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance offends me. It's just the dumbest thing. But it also shows just how much our school system has poisoned the minds of young people and even adults, because the socialists, Marxists, communists, atheists have infiltrated these arenas so deeply, made everything racist, made everything anti-God, made everything anti-society. I mean, you just see what's happening. Anarchy is this is waiting at the door. I mean, women can't even compete against women anymore. They got to now compete against men. This is what inclusivity means. It means chaos. It means stupidity. You let women get beat up by men in the freaking octagon because, we're going to be so good about the inclusivity. It's a biological man fighting against a biological woman. Used to be chivalry in there where men said, no, we're not putting our hands on women. But now we celebrate it by putting hands on women in the octagon. Racing against women in team sports. That's what it looks like. This looks dumb. So how does it play out for you and for me? Are you willing to voice your principles and your opinions and come against the system that is trying to destroy every fabric of Western civilization, even the understanding of what male and female actually is? Are you willing to say something? Are you willing to stand up for your principles? She did. Gina did. That's mad respect for that woman. And now the price she pays is her job. Are you willing to stand up? Are you willing to say something? And are you willing to pay the cost? Understand, there will be a cost. And there's people out there that think that everything's going to start getting better. You got to understand, it's going to get worse. And if you don't know what you stand for, your principles, you have no principles. And you won't be able to stand when the fire gets turned up. Believe me, part of this, and the reason why I speak out is because you need to know what you stand for. Because they are coming for you. They're coming for everything that you own, everything that you have, everything that you are, because you better conform. And if you don't conform, they'll destroy you. That's what these people are. If you are an advocate of cancel culture, you are the Nazi. You are the Stalinist. You are the communist. And you might think you're doing so with so much virtue that you're just so wonderful. Even you communist Christians, oxymoronic to the core. But that's just how misled, misguided you actually are. You're blinded by the world system. And that world system has you in your soul and you don't even know it. Unfortunate for you, not unfortunate for me, because I'm going to keep calling it out. And I hope that you as an individual who's watching this, that you are emboldened, that you feel a little bit more courage, and that you're not afraid to speak out and say something. Because there will be a time, like I said, where that they'll try to take your voice away, because that's all they have. The power to silence. Not the power to listen, not the power to adapt, and the power to understand. The power to silence. That's all they have.